This rookie could be the final piece the 76ers need for a title run. When Labaron Philon Jr. was drafted by the 76ers, he thought he'd be joining a team in the middle of a transition. Now, he's teaming up with Jaylen Brown and LeBron James, and his role and outlook that Labaron will face is wildly different from what he expected when he was first drafted. I've broken down Labaron's film from his time to Alabama all the way back to high school and EYBL, and I have seen a star in the making for a long time. The growth I saw from freshman to sophomore year is what excites me most, and his ability to develop and learn is one of the reasons why he became one of my favorite prospects in the draft. Then he unexpectedly fell to the 76ers with the 22nd pick. Here's what Sixers fans can expect to see from Labaron this season, and it wouldn't be the first time the Sixers have stolen a falling guard in the draft. They did it with Tyrese Maxey in 2020 and Jared McCain in 2024, even though he's no longer on the team. And Philon is more Maxey than McCain. He is a dynamic driving threat and was one of the best creators in all of college basketball as a sophomore after a great freshman season as a role player. And we're going to break down some of his impressive summer league film and show a bit of what makes him an electric prospect. And this first clip against the Pacers showcases his really impressive change of pace, but before we get into the drive, Philon already makes a smart decision. Instead of passing to 52 and potentially getting picked off after he picks up the ball, he passes to Johni Broome and gets the ball back to initiate a handoff. And you can see his joystick handle right here. Labaron is such a difficult player to guard. Not only is he fast and a quick first step, he's got an excellent handle and he changes speeds and directions so smoothly. Notice how he isn't bothered at all by Braden Smith, the defender on his back, or a dropping big man or a gap defender bothering him. He simply keeps his handle alive. He's very manipulative with his subtle head movements as well, keeping the defense on their toes, and then he goes up for the left-handed finish. Of course, he is a right-handed player, and Philon uses the wrong foot finish. He finishes off of his left foot with the left hand to throw off the timing of the shot blocker, who will often read a driver's feet to time up the block. But Philon showcases it all on this first clip. His excellent skill, his feel for driving and pacing, and his excellent skill and touch at the basket. These are all things that made him such an exciting creator prospect. And Philon was similarly effective as a driver even without a ball screen. As we're going to see in this second clip against Houston, the Rockets are going to switch the pick and roll, and maybe you could argue Philon could pass the ball over top here, but his MO is to drive and score, and Philon gets downhill and hits a floater over his defender. And even when Philon can't use pure blow-by speed, he's so good playing low and at his own pace. Notice how Philon gets beneath the switch defender so he can't recover and flip his hips to contain. Philon fights off contact with his off arm, and his physicality and willingness to fight off that contact on these drives gives me confidence despite his frame being pretty weak and lacking muscle at this stage. Bruce Thornton is digging in on the strong side, so when Philon picks up the ball at the elbow, he throws the ball above his head. That high pickup helps him avoid any potential dig turnovers, and he goes right into the floater, this time using his strong right hand off the left foot leaning, and that is a beautiful teardrop. Labaron Philon can finish with his right, can finish with his left. He has all kind of different tricks in his bag, and that's part of what makes him such a dynamic scorer. There isn't just one thing he's good at on these drives. He's good at so many different things. He's good at going fast. He's good at going slow. He's good at accelerating and then decelerating and changing directions with all sorts of handling moves. But it's not only downhill for Labaron Philon. He developed a ton as a three-point shooter as his college career went on and was an efficient, high-volume off-dribble shooter during his sophomore year at Alabama. And we're going to see some of that on display in his first summer league bucket, I believe, against the Detroit Pistons in this third clip. The Pistons are playing over and drop against the pick and roll here, and Philon's going to to find the space and splash a step back three in a defender's face. His release is quick and compact and repeatable, and you rarely see his mechanics fluctuating. And I love how he finds the space here. He steps back when he notices that the over defender is a little bit too far beyond the arc, or under the arc, I should say. Philon steps back, and even though the defender gets a pretty decent contest, Philon splashes the three in his face. And this is what makes his slashing so dangerous and effective. When defenses fear him as a slasher, they have to play him up as a three-point shooter as well, or else they're just going to get burned. But if they play him too tight and respect his three-point shooting as they should, they're going to get burned to the rim, and he's going to score or draw a foul or do one of the great things Labaron does at the basket. He is an excellent scoring prospect, and that was the crux of why I think he was so underrated. Even though he only shot 25.8% from three in Summer League, his 7.8 threes per game is a more reflective indicator, that volume of great shooting. And he was scoring well, he was efficient, his assist to turnover was positive, and his playmaking was quite impressive too, as we're going to see in this final clip, where Philon averaged 5.8 assists to just 2.5 turnovers per game in his 4 Las Vegas Summer League games. And that was a strength of his turnover suppression and creating shots for others in college. And we're going to see another empty pick and roll, this time again against the Detroit Pistons in that first game. And Philon is going to create a lot of easy shots for teammates. He isn't necessarily a tight window, manipulative, elite passer like a Trae Young or a Luka Doncic, but he uses his pace and his handle. Once again, we have over coverage on Philon because you have to respect him as a shooter. But instead of just plowing downhill and lowering his shoulder right into Ogona Onyenso, an impressive shot blocker, he waits, he hesitates, he sucks in 2 defenders, and he kicks it back to Janai Broom, who pops out and drills the 3. And Philon is so good at these simple decisions, and these are the kind of plays that are going to matter when he's playing next to other stars like LeBron James, Tyrese Maxey, Jaylen Brown, and hopefully VJ Edgecombe, and hopefully Joel Embiid stays healthy for Philon to benefit, as he's not necessarily going to be doing a ton of primary advantage creation. But if he can make simple plays like this, if he can read coverages, if he can suck in defenders and make smart passes out to a popping Joel Embiid, say, I think he could be a really effective offensive player in year 1. Now, as he is a rookie, Philon, and especially rookie point guards, often struggle early on. The physicality and speed of the NBA definitely could give him problems, and the defensive side of the ball is where a lot of his issues lie, largely because of his weight, and his effort just waned as a sophomore, but hopefully back as a complementary player, he can give more and more effort. Similar to his film as a freshman and in high school, but Philon has experience in high school and as a freshman on the Alabama Crimson Tide, playing as a role player, playing off the catch, shooting catch and shoot threes, cutting and moving without the basketball, and having energy in the pick and roll and on defense. And that's going to be the situation Labaron Philon finds himself. He's not going to be asked to create a ton on the ball by himself, but playing off of the gravity of Joel Embiid and Brown and LeBron and Maxey and all of their other stars could help him have a really efficient and productive rookie season. And I think there's a good chance that when we look back on the 2026 NBA draft, a draft that is potentially littered with stars, we're going to think that Labaron Philon went too low. And there are a lot of great prospects, but like we said at the beginning, the Sixers have shown their ability to find these gems and diamonds in the rough, especially in the backcourt. People forget that they drafted Isaiah Joe as well. They didn't hang on to him, but that's another second round player that ended up hitting big for them. So if anything is similar, even though they have a new GM and a new regime, Labaron Philon could not only be a useful piece for the Sixers as they try to contend with LeBron James right now, but a key piece of whatever their core looks like down the road. And no one expected Labaron Philon, Jaylen Brown, and LeBron to all end up on the 76ers. Now that they have, it'll be on Labaron to figure out how to fit alongside them. I will surely be tuning in throughout the season to see how that goes. There's still a lot for him to learn, but he'll be in the perfect locker room and situation to learn from some of the best in the league and from the greatest player in the history of the NBA.